Hello everybody and welcome to the finals match between me and Justin. Right now you can see we're having the roller. Rolled a 1, he rolled a 20, he'll be going first. So this game, wow. Commentating over it as obviously I couldn't cast it since I was playing. This was 3 very close games. There goes Justin. Gonna mulligan. Didn't give a best start. But wow, this tournament was, or this finals match was long overdue, unfortunately. With us being on separate time zones by quite a lot. We ended up playing like a week after the initial tournament games had been played. But at least it happened. Just gonna wait on Justin's initial move here. It's off with Carnival Barker and the Checkered Garb. Very normal start. Does take him straight down to 2 cards, which could be quite worrying. I'll drop the Aprisa Headliner. So, I believe Justin is playing a Harlequin's deck. Harlequin's very strong in the meta right now. While I am using my Vicken deck. Cirque being one of the stronger troops in the game right now with their theatre scene, which I had to confirm this, I think it might be in this game, it might be next one, where you can actually kill audience members but the player controls with it. So I'll drop Bartasaur and a Vicken armor. Bartasaur just giving me that charisma that I need. We'll end up dying pretty soon when I drop another Diva, since Grandius does have a lot of Diva. Vicken armor there just for the PV bonus. Clown Howlet coming out with a Jester's makeup. That's a lot of PV to drop this early. It's quite scary. So it's a very standard game right now. Unfortunately, Justin does have 2 Carnival Barkers, putting him at quite the disadvantage of where he probably wants to be. I'll drop the Vicken Dormand. Just lets me look at the top card. If it's a prop, I can attach it. Or a Vicken prop. Place another Vicken armor. Currently right now, while going up against Cirque, you need to have lots of PV on the board just to be able to defend against them, as they've probably got the highest PV ramp in the game right now. As you saw, as I equipped the Vicken armor, I used the theatre scene to add another audience member to the fire, so I can take 2. That allows me to cap 3. I then also leave my Vicken Dormand unbowed in case he attacks this turn. That'll either be used to defend, or I'll use it as a standing ovation to captivate my last 2 audience members, but he doesn't end up attacking, which is quite unfortunate. This turn was a bit of a surprise to me. I didn't realise he had Reflective Mime in his deck. Made me have to reconsider one of my moves later on. Now in this situation, I'm a bit concerned of whether I want to rehearse or promote. It's pretty difficult for me to be able to attack him at all. As I drop through engine, it activates Vartasaur's ability, which means I have to find another Grandius member which has 2 audience cost. Comes into the stage bound there. Through engine being one of the key cards of the Vicken deck. Being able to bow him, you can force your opponent to steal the show. Hopefully you can defend against them at least. I realised here that I hadn't shuffled my deck before getting the title to the top, so I reshuffled. I played Good Shall Prevail, hopefully to get another cast member for next turn, but unfortunately I think I find another Opryza headliner, and then 2 other cards, one being Tori and the other one being Harsh Critique. So unfortunately all 3 of those cards were a bit useless, which is quite unfortunate. Oh no, turns out one of them was Vic and Armor. So I'll just use the Vic and Dorman's scene so I can attach a Vic and prop that's at the top of my deck. And I'll equip it straight to him just so I have some more PV. And this is where I realise there's a few too many audience members in the foyer than I'd like. And I think this is where my first mistake was. Definitely shouldn't have promoted this turn, I should have rehearsed. Yeah. Put on a show for 2. 3 will become captivated. If I remember to captivate a 3rd, which it turns out I didn't remember to captivate the 3rd. That card that you just dropped is very strong. Can't remember its name, but while it's center stage, if you bow the card, you count up each Harlequin you have on the field, which right now he currently has 2 Harlequin props and I believe 2 Harlequin cast members, so he can kill anything that has an audience cost of 3 or less that isn't center stage. So that means right now, my Vic and Dormand, who's center stage with my 2 Vic and Armors, he's safe because he's center stage, and my Fruingen is also safe because he has 4 audience cost. Which means he could, if he wanted to, bow it and kill off my Opryza headliner, or he could kill off my other Vic and Dormand. He's not going to want to do that because he's already moved it center stage, and if he does that, then he won't be able to put anything else center stage. So I'm more likely to be preparing for next turn. But since he didn't promote and he hasn't got any audience in the foyer, he's most likely going to want to attack. So right now, Justin said he'll go to Showtime. Unfortunately, he did say he was just going to steal instead of saying going to Showtime. I'd prefer it if he did say go to Showtime, because here we go, standing ovation. It'll let me captivate 2 of my audience members. This will stop him from just outright winning the game. Again, I think I've put myself at a massive disadvantage by forgetting that I have got Fruingen out of the field, who is a star. So we go, Justin decides he's going to attempt to steal 3. He's got 3 PV in the centre, so he's going to be able to do that. There's not really much point in me even trying to outperform. So I'll rehearse, and I have to somehow either have enough defense that if I use Fruingen to force him to steal, that I can outperform successfully, which I doubt is going to happen. I've not got a single Wittgenstein out, which is my 0 for 2 PV costume, which all I have to do is bow another cast member to use. I also don't have any way of checking what's on the top of my deck to try and use Vic and Dormans. But I know that I will just have to throw them out anyway, just to hopefully find them. So I'll drop another Upfreezer headliner. I think at this point I kind of realise I've not got anything that I can really do to defend. But it's a finals game. I'm going to play it out, just in case, who knows, he might make a mistake. There goes Wittgenstein. So that Vic and Dormand in the centre is currently at a total of 6 PV. So there you see me using Vic and Dormand's first scene to see what's on the top of my deck, to see if it's a Vic costume that I can attach. It wasn't. It was a carnival. It was a Chief Usher, should I say. That's the old Chief Usher art. There's a new one now. So unfortunately I take quite a lot of times because I've got to think about how I've got to use my divas, how I've got to use my Vic and Dormand scenes. And these last couple turns tend to take a couple minutes each, because there's quite a lot you've got to calculate just to see. I've also got to think what he's going to use his Reflective Mind for. Luckily for me, I don't think he's really got anything, but he can use his Reflective Mind on. I'll use Diva just so I can find out, so I can get rid of that Chief Usher off the top, and then I'll use my second Vic and Dormand to try and find another Vic and prop. There's none there. It's another Vic and Dormand. So I've got to think, do I want to Diva again? Should I decide not to? So there we go, Justin will promote. And then, can't remember what that cast member's name, don't really play Cirque. What I do know it does is it sabotages itself to sabotage a opposing prop. So no, he's most likely going to blow up my Wittgenstein. I ban my through engine to force him to have to steal the show. Justin will move to showtime and will attempt to steal one cast member since that's all he needs to win. So I'm currently at 6. Oh, I'm currently at 7 to his 3. That's now 6 to my 7. That's now his 7 to my 7. All you have to do when trying to steal the show is to meet it. So now it's his 7 to my 8. And then now that's his 9 to my 8. So I'll put it to 10. So it's his 9 to my 10. And then it's his 10 to my 10. And now he's won the game. All of this could have been changed if I had just used the star. Which now in retrospect is kind of upsetting. Because that's a very simple mistake to make. And one that I shouldn't have done. So now we just reset the board. Since I lost, I can decide whether I go first or second. Statistically, we've calculated you're more likely to win if you go first, so I will choose to go first. It also gives me that cast member advantage that I will need while going up against Cirque, as like I've said before, they force you to bow something, and if you don't, they'll be able to kill off one of something on my stage that doesn't have a costume attached, or even off stage. Or, as we ended up finding out this game, it can kill one of my cast members. I'll begin by throwing down my Hat Trickster. My Hat Trickster will allow me to scene so I can find a top hat. The top hat will allow me to look at the top 2 cards on my deck. This is mainly used so I can use Vic and Dormand to attach a prop, because each turn I'll be able to know whether I've got a prop out on top or not. Justin will then follow up with his Carnival Barker. Very standard. I then promote, as I know I've got a top hat in my hand that I will be playing, and I can grant you a scene to have 2 audience members. Here, I didn't even promote, I rehearsed, should I say. After I rehearsed, I decide, okay, I haven't quite found my Vartisaur that I wanted. I didn't even find another cast member I could play, so I used Good Shall Prevail to see if I could find it. Still didn't find it, which was unfortunate, as I think I found one of my Opries a headliner, but unfortunately, Good Shall Prevail does not allow me to take an Opries a headliner, since that's a Nephos singer, and I'm only allowed to take out both Diva and Ava cast members while looking at the top 3 cards. After I've put on a show for 1, Justin does come back with his Clown Harlot, which has charisma and gives him another audience member, so he can put on a show for 2. I drop my Vicken Spiritu, one of the core cards of the Vicken deck, and I'll give it Vicken Armor. And this is where I realise I'm going to have to steal the show against Justin, because I need to slow him down. If he finds an Arlock, which is one of the strong cards, then I'm going to be in a really bad situation. So I want to slow him down as much as possible. So here, I decide I'm going to steal the show and I'm going to bow Hat Trickster as the cost. And then I realise, wait a minute, it can't kill anything that has a costume attached. So I won't even bow Hat Trickster, since I'm happy to just go down to 2 audience members if it forces him down to 2 audience members. This back and forth conversation goes on for a little while, so I am going to skip forward a bit, because I think this is something that was never done before. And then yeah, there you go. I stole the second audience member, and he killed an audience member. So this time, he's now playing a Fiery Ringler, which is what that card's called, which will allow him, if he bows it, to kill a prop. But this is where he decides he's going to attempt to steal the show for 2. Since he has his costume on his Clown Harlot, which puts him up to 2 PV in total. And then he realised this is where his big mistake came in. He drops Without a Net. Without a Net gives plus 2 PV, it costs 0. However, if you don't put it on an Acrobat, then it kills the cast member it's put on. Because he's already supported with his Fiery Ringler, putting it on to her will do nothing. So he has to choose, does he want to put it on his Clown Harlot and kill her, even though it's got the checkered garb on, or he's going to put it on to his Carnival Barker and then support with her. Because right now, after I've supported with Hat Trickster, I'm on a 3 PV contested show. Justin's currently on a 2 PV contested show. So yeah, he'll put Without a Net onto his Carnival Barker, putting him up to a 5 PV contested show, and he'll take my 2 audience member. Now this is where most decks will start to fall, but it's where the Vicken deck can play fine. This is because I knew I had that Nephos Singer that I saw with Good Shall Prevail. So I've got a 0 cost in my hand. And what I've also got is a Wittgenstein. Now a Wittgenstein gives 2 PV to the target cast member that it's attached to, as it's a costume. However, it costs 0, which is great in this situation. All you have to do though is you do have to bow another cast member to use it. I also know that since I'll have a costume, I can ignore his theatre completely, as he cannot blow up any card that I control, as I have nothing he can blow up. This means I've got a perfect opportunity to steal from him. So right now, I'm trying to do the calculations to see if it's worth doing. And here we go. I can't decide whether I want to steal 3 or 4. I decide I'm going to steal 4. Justin will use his Verticine, and I'll do nothing for it. I'll then support with Hat Trickster, which puts me up to 4 PV against his 4 PV. And there we go. And this is where Justin's really going to struggle now, because he's now only at 2. I'm at 4. And I know that with this advantage, I can really start pressuring him. But with the amount of mistakes that are happening, you can really tell that this game is new and we're all still learning the game. Lots of cards are being changed as we playtest it. Here I'll drop Through Engine, Star Charisma. It's great. It's very good in this situation where if I can force him to steal the show from me, I know he'll probably lose. I don't feel pressured enough right now to have to steal. So right now I'm most likely going to just put on a show for a big amount and then force him to steal next turn when he's got more audience members available to me. So because I had to bow my Freezer Headliner to put on a show for free, I do have to kill the Wittgenstein because I don't want to bow anything else. This is due to me wanting to keep my center stage to have a PV presence. As I don't know, if he drops his R-Lock right now, if he has one, then that's a massive jump of free performance he'll gain. Justin will come in, drop his Reflective Mime. Which I think, looking back on this game, he wasn't actually allowed to drop his Reflective Mime. I think Reflective Mime costs 4 audience members, and I think I completely missed it. Yeah. This could potentially be a very bad game losing mistake that I've made, not calling him out on that. I'll drop the Viking Spirit, give a Viking Armor. I understand right now that there's not much I really need to do in terms of being able to win this game. He's got next to no board presence. And I've got quite a high amount of board presence. Here I'll Good Shall Prevail. I just want to play as safe as I can, make sure I know what the top cards are. I don't want any nasty tricks to come up. Here is where I believe I'm going to force him to steal the show. But I'll wait to see what he drops, because if he drops something big, then I probably don't want to also drop something and lose my free PV from Through Engine. And to be honest, I think I know he has to steal the show. As he moves his new cast member to center stage, I know he's not going to bow it to kill it. Otherwise he'll have nothing to defend and won't be able to attack. I bow Fruingen. Don't really know why I did that, because he'll be forced to attack, but that also means he cannot bow it to kill. So I'm currently at 5 PV from my centre, 6 from Hat Trickster, and then I go to 9 with my second Viking Spiritu. He's currently at 3 from Lil, who is his centre stage. He's got 3 from Reflective Mime, makes it 6. Another one from Fiery Ringler makes it 7. And the last one from Clown Harlot, which puts into 8. He'll kill his Fiery Ringler to blow up my Wittgenstein. Puts me at -2, puts him up 1, or puts him down 1 as well though. However, this is where, as he's calculating it, he's realising he doesn't actually have enough to steal. So I was a bit worried right now. As he takes 2, I'm assuming he has 2 drop the nets, or without a nets, so in his hand. But I also know that after he bows everything to steal, I'm going to be able to steal 4 right back, which is fine. So I'm currently at 5, he goes to 6, I go up to 8. And with his Clown Harlot, he still doesn't beat me. And this is where he calls GG. So, just quickly move us to the final game. It is 1-1. Justin needs to go first. He'll mulligan his first hand, clearly didn't get what he wanted. And I believe he was relatively happy with his new hand. He'll start dropping a Clown Harlot, very standard. I'll rehearse, put down a Hat Trickster scene with it to find a top hat. Put the top hat into my hand, shuffle the deck, put on a show for 1. Justin will promote. Drop a Fiery Ringler, put it centre stage, put on a show for 2. It tells me he doesn't have a Clown Harlot in his hand. Doesn't make me any less scared of what else he might have. I decide to drop the Aprisa Headliner. I'll use the top hat to look at the top 2 cards, see if I want to get rid of anything. I don't. And then I'll put on a show for 2. Justin will come in and drop Prixwire Prancer, who luckily he hadn't used her without a net, so he won't have any bonus PV. Justin will then Fiery Ringler off the top hat, as he doesn't want his theatre to become useless or less useful like it did last game. So now this puts me at the cast member advantage, which is nice. I'll promote. Drop a Viking Dormand. I do believe I have another top hat. Yep. So unfortunately my starting hand wasn't too great. I did draw 2 bunnies, or Hat Tricksters, and I ended up drawing one of my top hats, which is not the best. I already had a Fruingen in hand, so a top hat, get rid of one of the Fruingens, put the other card on top. And then I'll casually just put on a show for 2. This allows me to at least have 2 PV center. He'll drop his star again. He's luckily managed to find it every single game, which is nice. It'll mean if he really wants to, he can blow up pretty much anything I have at the moment. Yeah, Justin's trying to figure out if he should put on a show or steal the show. He decides to put on a show with his Carnival Barker, which does has the Jester's makeup. Jester's makeup allowing him to not have to bow when putting on a show. Here I realise that because he's at 4 audience members left, he's most likely not going to be able to end the game in 1 turn, so I am just going to try and go for a rushing of putting on the show without bowing too much. Here I'll top up so I can see what the top 2 cards are. Here I'm really trying to get some value out of my Vic and Dormand. Here's Justice, should I figure out his PV amount? So I use Vic and Dormand to equip the Wittgenstein. And the past 30 seconds to a minute, all I've been trying to figure out is where do I want to put this Wittgenstein. Most likely don't want to put it in Fruingen. Most likely going to put it on Vic and Dormand. However, I need a big centre stage presence, and I'm not going to be able to use Fruingen, so maybe I'll throw it onto the Fruingen so I can put him centre stage, which is what I will end up doing. So now I've got this huge 5 PV monster in the centre, which unfortunately can't really bow. So if I bow it, then it will just struggle to do anything. I'm also deciding whether I want to use my Grandiose Theatre to add another audience member to the foyer, which I think I don't, and I also know is for the best. Maybe I'll put on a show for 2. 3 will become captivated, presuming I remember I've got a star this time. Which I again don't. He'll then blow up my Hat Trickster. He'll then promote and add a second audience member to the foyer. Don't really remember how he added the second one. Oh, with the Carnival Barker and blowing up. And now he's realising he might actually have enough PV to steal. But he decides to put on a show here. And this is where I'm in a really tough spot. I realise that I might not have enough to steal. I also might not have enough. And I know that I don't have enough to put on a show. So I have to really start calculating, do I have enough to steal the show? So right now his Carnival Barker is on 2 performance. His other cast member of the offstage is at 3, which gives him a total of 5. And his Prixwar Prancer has 2 more, which puts him at 7. Can't remember what I'd put at the top of my deck, and then I realised it was a harsh critique. I realise here I only need to steal 3. He's at 7 PV, plus the 3 audience members, put him at 10. I'm at 5 with Fruingen. I'm at 7 with Vic and Dormand. I need to somehow get 3 more PV, and then I also have to hope he doesn't have a Without a Net. I put myself up to 9. And then Vic and Dormand again. That puts me up to 10. This is perfect. This is exactly what I needed. But I realise that I still might not have enough in case he's got something else. This is where a lot of the thinking comes in. I'm going to skip forward a bit. So I decided to equip it to my first Vic and Dormand, because I do realise that I also have to bow something else because of his theatre. So I Diva and then Vic and Dormand again to hopefully have another costume to attach. But I don't find one. What I do know is that I do have a Vic and Armour. I realise that if I equip it to my last Vic and Dormand that has nothing, then all he can do is kill off another audience member. If he kills off an audience member, though, I have to steal 4. But that's fine because I will be at 11 to meet his 11 in total. And this is where it all comes down to just 1 PV. I think Justin at this point forgot that he could kill an audience member with his theatre. But I play it out like he does know, because obviously if he does do it and I said, oh, I'll only steal 3, then I'd probably just lose the game. I also realised Justin only has 1 card in hand. This means the likelihood he has anything. So then he'll play Burn Down the House, killing 3 things, but that doesn't help him whatsoever. It means he's at 6 compared to my 8, and I will win the game and the tournament. Luckily no airlocks, and altogether it was a really fun match. One of the closer matches I've had, or the closer 3 matches I've had in a long time. 3 matches over the course of 45 minutes, very nice. All of them very close and down to the wire. And most likely 1 mistake was all it took in those first 2 games which determined the outcome. And that's what we call GG. Well, thank you for watching. I hope this has given you some insight to Wager of Troupes, and also how the tournaments have played. Well played to Justin, and good luck in all future tournaments.